The release of Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4 sparked a cataclysm in the Deltarune Theory community. The formulaic game we had imagined simply never came to pass. Characters once considered to be endgame bosses entered the story at the halfway point, and countless theories, knight candidates, secret boss ideas, and even those as universally agreed upon as chess theory have been brutally eviscerated. But not my baby, we say winning, let's go! Woo! Hello, and welcome to part 2 of Winter Wonderland Theory, a seemingly simple follow-up which instead spiraled out of control until it mutated into a massive pile of weird root symbolism analysis. So despite the title, I'll be using Winter Wonderland Theory more as a framing device, using the song to guide my analysis of the themes and imagery of the weird root. I'll be killing two birds, a bluebird and a newbird, with one stone, tackling quite a few mini-theories as I slowly prove this bigger, overarching theory. With that in mind, I would recommend that you watch the first Winter Wonderland Theory before watching this one. Although it was made before we had an inkling of what Deltarune had up its sleeve, I think a lot of my analysis ended up being surprisingly accurate to what Chapter 4 especially seems to be doing with the weird root. But for anyone who needs a reminder, Winter Wonderland Theory argued that Deltarune's weird root was inspired by the Christmas song Winter Wonderland. The song is about a couple who are excited for their upcoming marriage, mirrored by the uncanny romantic undertones and marriage symbolism seen in Chapter 2's weird root. My theory argued that the Addison who sells the freeze ring to Noelle fills the role of Parson Brown, that Gone Away is the bluebird refers to Birdley being frozen, with Spamton the newbird then taking his place, and that the weird root will end with Noelle, the angel, creating her own dark world, the Winter Wonderland. But there's something I have to tell you before getting into the theory proper. It pains me to say this, but Spamton isn't the newbird. You guys were right. Reading all your comments, even before the new chapters came out, and especially after, there's a far better candidate that I overlooked. It's you, the player. The first hint leading to this conclusion is one that we missed all the way back in Chapter 1. The birdcage. Something so specific and oddly out of place that there's no way it isn't symbolic of something. And then there's Chris, the cage with human soul and parts. Chris is the birdcage, and the player is the bird. A bird who yearns for freedom, freedom from the set path that Chris, the prophecy, and the narrative itself forces us along. Freedom from that one ending. As seen in Chris's title change in Chapter 4's weird root, the black bead may be broken off, but the cage, Chris, is still locked. Only once the cage can be opened will you be free to stretch your wings and fly. And when I say that, I do mean real physical wings. Because I believe that the goal of the weird root is to alter Deltarune's ending by replacing the prophecy's angel with the player. I still believe that Noelle will be the angel, which I'll talk more about later, but who says that there can only be one? Deltarune establishes many layers of reality in its story. The real world, the light world, the dark world, and worlds even deeper, where Gaster and Des may reside. Because of Gaster's association with the devil and Darkness's general association with hell, as well as Light's association with the holy, we can assume that connections are being drawn between the highest, lightest layers of reality with heaven, as well as the darkest, most fictional layers with hell. If this is the case, then the player, the only character who's real, who interacts with a layer lower than their own, much like an angel, is likely to be the prophecy's angel as well. But for less theoretical proof, just look. Player, angel. But the player isn't just the newbird because they're bird-like, they're also newer than any other character in the game. Every other character has existed before the beginning of the story, even the Darkners, who have histories dating back to when Chris was a kid. The player is the only new one here, and the game makes this abundantly clear. You were dropped right into someone's existing life, learning how they used to act, their previous relationships, and their family drama as you go. You may think that you know which Super Smashing Fighters character Asriel mained, but you don't, because you missed years of these characters' lives. You're new here in a way that even Spamton wasn't. Even the dynamic between the bluebird and the newbird is on full display in Deltarune. Only after the bluebird has gone away is the newbird here to stay, a shift in power echoed by Birdley and the player. Birdley's death is Chapter 2's point of no return, the moment when a fork is made in the game's path and the extent of your control over Noelle is made clear. In the normal route, you're almost a side character to Susie's protagonism. She's the one with the character arc, the love interest, and the most potential to rewrite the ending of the story. But you? You're only needed to seal the fountains. Your choices hardly matter. Any changes you make are merely cosmetic. But after Birdley's death, you are in control. You are the main character, Susie doesn't matter anymore. Her cutscene with Noelle gets skipped. For the first time, your choices lead to massive alterations in the Dark World, complete with a unique final boss. You get to decide Noelle's fate, and at last, your presence is not only noticed, but respected. After Birdley's death, you are the one at the reins. There's nothing Chris or anyone else can do to stop you. You are here to stay. And then, of course, is the love song. Spamton may have given Chris and Noelle the thorn ring, but it was you who forced them to act out this abusive marriage relationship to begin with. You sang a love song as they went along. In order to continue the weird route in Chapter 4, the player must force the thorn that is the thorn ring back onto Noelle's finger, symbolically stopping Noelle from leaving her marriage with Chris by keeping the ring on her finger. In the original version of the cutscene, a rose the color of the soul appeared, then wilted. While I personally prefer the new cutscene overall, the original tells us without a shadow of a doubt that the thorn ring is made from the thorns of a rose. Now, I'm going to talk about the rose's meaning, but I'm intentionally leaving out the whole essay conversation. Others have talked about it better than I ever could, and the topic has become tiring for me anyway, so please engage in that discussion elsewhere. Thank you. With that out of the way, roses are a very loaded symbol in Western culture. In Christianity, red roses represent the blood shed by Jesus on the cross, symbolizing his love, sacrifice, and suffering. Considering that Noelle has already been established to be a Christ figure, and the flower appears as a direct result of re-equipping the thorn ring, an allusion to the crown of thorns Jesus wore on the cross, the rose symbolizing her suffering is sadly fitting. Also, fun fact, roses are closely related to apples, both belonging to the family Rosaceae. What Deltarune character do we know to be tied to apples? Chris. But, more importantly, red roses are a symbol of passionate romantic love. They're even the most commonly used flower for weddings. White flowers are the second most, representing purity, but of course, Noelle and Chris's relationship in the Weird Route is anything but pure. There's no doubt that Deltarune is using roses to typify love. A hint Pippins in round 2 of TV Time even links them when he says, "The plant of spikes hides in the forest. It's no rose, but its thorns hold love." This is, of course, talking about the tsundere cactus, but in so doing confirms that not only a rose, but its thorns too hold love. And not just romantic love. The entire Weird Route is about getting stronger. It's only by using the thorn ring, which holds love, that Noelle becomes strong enough to kill Birdley and throw Deltarune off course. While wearing it, her HP slowly drops to 55, which many before me have pointed out is LV in Roman numerals. While the game bends over backwards to call it by any other name, strength, power, or even blocking it entirely, don't be fooled. This rose's thorn holds not only romantic love, but LV, level of violence from Undertale. That's right. Love is back. When trying to understand certain themes such as love and Deltarune, the prophecy is always a good place to start. I'm not the first person to notice this, but the second hero from the prophecy, the girl with hope crossed on her heart, likely isn't Susie. For one thing, Susie wields an axe, not a sword, but it becomes even more obvious once we rearrange the prophecies into their intended order. The first hero, the cage with human soul in parts. The second hero, the girl with hope crossed on her heart. The third hero, the prince alone in deepest dark. And last was the girl. At last was the girl. This last girl's illustration is much more specific as well, the Wi-Fi symbol representing Susie's Rude Buster. So if Susie's the last girl, then the character who best fits the role of the second hero is Noelle. She's able to equip certain swords like the second hero in the prophecy glass, and can also equip ribbons, something which Rousey says Susie was supposed to do. The line, "Love finds its way to the girl," seems to fit Noelle better as well. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. This piece of the prophecy is so interesting to me because it perfectly fits both routes. In the normal route, Noelle falls in love with Susie, but in the weird route, she gets stronger and gains love. And with the way it's phrased, Noelle doesn't find love, it finds her. There's a heart inside the silhouette of the second hero, a right side up heart, like a human soul. The little sprite you see every time you enter a battle. The one at the center of both of the logos. The symbol we've been looking at as a representation of ourselves in Toby Fox's games for a decade. A heart. A heart. Oh yeah, that's a symbol of love, isn't it? So, I'm not the only one who didn't realize that the soul is heart-shaped because of love, right? That concept that perfectly sums up the thesis of Undertale, represented by a symbol of said concept, controlled by the person exhibiting that concept? And now finally, that concept is making its grand comeback, and yet again, you, the heart, are its catalyst. You are the one forcing Chris and Noelle to play this messed up game of house, making them fall in love. And you are the one pushing Noelle to get stronger, making her gain love. You are the one singing a love song as they go along, and you will ensure that love finds its way to the girl, no matter the cost. But it doesn't end there. In one of Noelle's blog posts from the Spampton Sweepstakes, she talks about one of her favorite games, Cat Petters 2. She begins by describing the game by talking about the breeding system. She says that you can mod in cool pets, but that you have to be careful because when pets fall in love, an egg appears and it hatches into a new pet that combines the animation and visual data of the two parents. Meaning, if you try to breed a hamster in a car, you'll either get a complete freak of nature XD, or worse, you'll get this message: incompatible pet. Then the game will freeze and the music will glitch out. Rereading this, I had this strange feeling that this information was important. And the way that line breaks are used to emphasize the word incompatible. That's what it was. It reminded me of this: not applicable and applicable. These pages were our first hint that Chapter 3 wouldn't have a weird root, but would have something related. Our first time seeing the red dot and Noelle's message, thank you. It was even our first hint that Chapter 5's weird root would take place, at least partially, in Hometown. Whether or not a chapter would have a weird root was conveyed to us with these short messages. Chapter 1, not applicable. Chapter 2, applicable. Chapter 3, not applicable, but... This type of language, applicable, proceed, equip, incompatible, it's the same type of cold, detached, even computer-like wording that's so closely associated with the weird root, and, I should add, is very similar to the way Gaster speaks. When read through the lens of the weird root, Noelle's blog post starts to feel uncannily familiar, the same as Dragon Blazers. When two incompatible people fall in love, the result is freezing and glitching. So then, compatibility isn't merely referring to the ability of two programmed objects to be capable of interacting, it's talking about relationship compatibility. And now that we fully understand the importance of love in Deltarune and the direct link between it and cat petters, I think we can finally crack the mystery of Deltarune's eggs. When two cats fall in love, they make an egg. So then, eggs represent love. After all this time, the answer really was just that simple, and I have a shocking amount of evidence to back it up. Do you remember the first time we ever got dialogue from the Eggman? It was in the 2024 Valentine's newsletter, an entire year before the new chapter's release. One of the only 2 times we get to hear him speak is on the Day of Love. He even draws attention to it himself. He says, "There was even a rumor of Valentine's Day. How absurd. Every day is a day of love, if only you believe it so. Do you believe it so?" And yes, this is the Eggman. They talk in the exact same way, down to telling you to wash your face as some sort of send-off. But then, how are the Easter eggs from this weird, forgotten man related to love? Well, they aren't in a romantic sense, nor level of violence. Rather, it's the same kind of love you show monsters in the pacifist route of Undertale. Kindness. So, the purpose of the message. I want to help. Yes, there was someone I wanted to help. Did you remember to write that down? How very kind of you. Please take this to remember me. You are very opinionated. I like you. You may forget me, I may forget myself, but I will remember your kindness. Then you can find the Eggman again in Art Therapy, where it seems that he's trying to help Chris through their trauma. These eggs represent the mutual kindness and caring that the man and Chris show each other, even though the man is a stranger to Chris every time they meet, because he's always forgotten. Certain egg rooms are also inaccessible on violent routes. Going between rooms in Chapter 2 won't work on a weird route, and nowhere is unreachable in Chapter 3 unless you spare every zapper enemy. This means that it's impossible to get every egg on a no mercy or weird route save. Instead, you must be kind to the people around you. Even the special egg that Noelle found, basically confirmed to be from the Forgotten Man, since she can't remember its name, never hatched but eventually left home due to happiness, thanks to the love and kindness that Noelle showed it. I think that Toby Fox also sees the determination of players to discover all the little Easter eggs in his games as an act of love for said game. So far, there's really not much reason to go to the incredible lengths it takes to get, say, the Chapter 3 egg, and yet players still do it because they love Deltarune. Though the most blatant evidence of egg is love theory is actually given to us by Miss Mizzle, whose battle, if you'll remember, is about trying to win her love through chivalry. If you attack her rather than sparing her, she has this to say. "What? You treat me like an egg that you should break me, to reveal some hidden beauty in gold and softened ivory. Nay, for love is made of eggshells, and should your love be true, you would already know what lies inside." I mean, that's about as clear as we're gonna get. Eggs are love, and apparently love is made of eggshells. Going through every other mention of the word egg with this interpretation in mind, it works perfectly. Take the egg's husband scene for instance. Toriel and Sans begin by flirting, making constant egg puns, the eggs representing their love for each other. Then Asgore butts in with a clumsy egg pun of his own, a gesture representing his romantic advances toward Toriel, which land about as well as his joke. After this, eggs aren't brought up again, almost as if the love was completely sucked from the room. Or recall Toriel's story about when Asgore painted green spots on eggs for Asriel's birthday, then proceeded to cook them and traumatize the poor kid the next morning. When the focus of the story is on Asriel, the eggs are unharmed and a cute reminder of his childhood. But when Toriel's attention shifts to Asgore, the eggs are broken and cooked. The eggs in this story are a perfect symbol of Toriel's love for her son and, yet again, her lack of love for Asgore. It could even be interpreted as a sign that their relationship was struggling even back then. Before moving on, I wanted to add in some discoveries I made while editing this video. First, the egg in the papyrus state makes complete sense now, and is in fact an insane double-layered joke. Remember seeing this HUD for the first time? It pulls up and you're like, population? Dog radar? Crime? Egg? None of this is helpful for a dating game, least of all the egg. How silly of Toby to include something so useless in a dating game HUD. But you've realized it by now, right? Tony's tricky trap that he set a whole decade ago, just waiting for someone to finally understand? That egg isn't useless. In fact, it's the only part of this HUD that's useful to a dating game, because eggs are symbols of love. Substitute the egg for something else that represents love. A flower, or a heart, for example. In the context of a dating game, a heart symbol in the UI would probably act as a love meter, indicating how well the date is going. I can imagine if the date was going well, more hearts would appear, and if you got in an argument or something, the heart would crack. Now replace the heart with an egg, and it's the same principle. All along, the egg, the element of the HUD that you thought was the most useless, was in fact the only helpful one. It was included not because Papyrus is the Eggman or anything, but for the sake of a hidden joke. Speaking of Papyrus not being the Eggman, I have a pretty good idea now of who he actually is. In Cheruba and Black Chestnut's video going over the massive Deltarune theory survey, Black Chestnut said something that caught my attention.
So you see Gaster's head is like shaped like an egg, right? And he's cracked, right?
Bro, why is this the first time I'm hearing of this? His head does look like a cracked egg. It's a tall, white oval and the black lines are obviously cracks. I always thought it was weird that despite having so many connections to the Skeleton brothers, his face didn't look anything like a skull. Well, that's why. But if eggs represent love, what does love have to do with Gaster? Keep in mind Miss Mizzle's dialogue saying you treat her like an egg and violence would break her, and Toriel's story about Asgore breaking the eggs on Asriel's birthday. Eggs may represent love, but cracked eggs represent love lost. Gaster is cracked so hard he shattered across time and space. He's a broken egg. One who has lost all love and empathy, who acts only out of pure, cold logic and curiosity. He doesn't seem to have any real attachment to you or the characters in Deltarune. In a lot of ways, he's the complete opposite of the Forgotten Man. Gaster's dialogue is cold and calculated, while the Eggman's is nonsensical and silly. Gaster shows no signs of caring about anyone besides the player, while the Forgotten Man always smiles at Chris, trying to help them in some way. Both of their themes are creepy, but the Eggman song feels like it's at least trying to be upbeat and comforting, like a smile that's just a little off. Gaster's theme, on the other hand, doesn't even give smiling a try. It's as far from upbeat or comforting as you can get. It seems that Gaster is even aligned against the Eggman, because collecting an egg prevents you from getting the Complete Without Issue PlayStation achievement, implying that the egg is an issue. These differences make their surprising number of similarities all the more interesting. One is an egg, the other hands out eggs, and both are Easter eggs. Both are found in rooms between. They both either aren't able to speak or choose not to. We know that Gaster speaks in hands. It's unclear if he ever actually speaks out loud, and the Forgotten Man says that Man Country's the only place left that he can talk. Both of their dialogue is in all caps, and both are referred to with vague masculine terms, him for Gaster and man for the Forgotten Man. But if they're so similar, then why are they so different? Well, what if Gaster had a Deltarune counterpart like all the other monsters? What if that counterpart was the Forgotten Man, a version of him who never shattered? They're both doctors, one is a scientist and the other is a therapist. The version of Gaster in Deltarune never cracked, and so he never lost his love. The same person, yet completely different. This is why Undertale Gaster knows about and is in some way against the Forgotten Man. He found a fundamentally different version of himself who stands in complete opposition to him. It's a bit sad. Even though the Forgotten Man never shattered, it seems that Gaster is always destined to be forgotten, no matter the universe. Now, let's get back to the original script. And as a gift, here's some brand new shipping fuel, now that we know that eggs represent love. For the Suzelle fans, when Susie drinks Noelle tea, she calls it eggnog, implying that although she doesn't realize it yet, Susie may already have feelings for Noelle in Chapter 2. And for all my Spam Tenna heads out there, Tenna's Pippis scene becomes even more meaningful knowing that Pippis are eggs. In Tenna's introduction video, he seems to dislike Pippis and think that he's above them, just like how outwardly he regards Spamton with contempt for what he sees as a betrayal of their partnership. Away from prying eyes though, Tenna keeps one of Spamton's Pippis hidden in a wardrobe. He's clearly ashamed of it but still cares for it and tries to protect it, reflecting that he still loves Spamton but hides it in shame. Not to mention, he hides the Pippis in the closet, like, you're seeing this, right? I'm not crazy? On the topic of Pippis, Spamton sure does have a lot of them, doesn't he? But what could Spamton possibly have to do with love? In order to answer that question, I first have to talk about everyone's favorite pair of words, hyperlink blocked. Originally, I wasn't sure what hyperlink blocked could be referring to. It seemed to be censoring a word synonymous with power, and something that Spamton really wanted, but deciphering the exact word seemed almost impossible. Love was always a likely candidate, but at that point in time, level of violence wasn't mentioned in-game a single time, so I thought that love was kind of a stretch. After all, Deltarune isn't just Undertale 2. It shouldn't feel obligated to include love just because Undertale did. And the themes of both games are so different, what purpose would love even serve in Deltarune? Fast forward a few months, and I now find myself writing a Deltarune theory basically arguing that the Weird Root has been about love from the very start. After my only reservation has been put to rest, there's really no better fit for Hyperlink Block's meaning than love. It fits each instance even better than something like power or freedom does, because love has multiple meanings, it's more flexible. Also, Spamton has said power and freedom before, so there's nothing preventing him from saying those words, unlike love. It also explains Spamton's Pippis. If love is required to make eggs, it makes sense why Spamton doesn't use Pippis in his first fight, and is only able to create them after gaining power, love, from the Neo body. The only other time he's created Pippis in-game was during his time in TV World, but it's likely he made those Pippis using a different type of love. The silver bullet of the theory that Hyperlink Blocked is love is this line. You've been making, haven't you? You've been making Hyperlink Blocked. The uncomfortable double meaning here is just perfect for the horrible vibes and romantic undertones that the Weird Root is going for. And love really is being manufactured in the Weird Root, as I hope I proved earlier. The player is the source of it. They are the heart, the rose, the love that finds its way to the girl. So when Spamton is trying to take your heart-shaped object, what he's really after is love. Something that he believes will make him big enough to reach into the heavens, to sever his strings, allowing him to finally be free. If that sounds familiar, it should, because it mirrors the player's motive for playing the Weird Root to a T. In fact, it's almost a little too similar. Spamton thinks that with enough power, he will be able to stand up with his head in the clouds and look into heaven. And now that we have reason to believe that the player or Noelle may become the angel, it's quite likely that the reason we're gaining love is to create a new angel ourselves, to grow wings just like Spamton did. And the reason we're doing this? To try to get a different ending, of course. The player is no less a puppet in the normal route than Spamton. Your choices don't matter. Regardless of what you do, the story will still happen in the same way every time, up to and including the ending. You can't change a thing. You are a puppet to the narrative, one who wants to cut those strings more than anything. Becoming stronger and gaining love is the only way to achieve that, and Spamton came to the same realization. And just like you, he is necessary to the weird root. Without his support, Noelle would have never gotten the thorn ring. She wouldn't be strong or cooperative enough for the root to continue. He's a mirror of the player. He's you on a weird root. That's why he's so bird-like, why he lays eggs, why he rises to power after the bluebird has gone away, why he supports Chris and Noelle's symbolic marriage like singing a love song. I was right. Spamton really was the newbird. Or, well, he could have been. The difference between the true newbird and its fake is that, in the end, you were stronger. And so, Spamton isn't really here to stay, is he? Since I don't have a good segue onto my next topic, what do you say we take a quick break? I know I just bombarded you with a million things to think about, and I don't know if any of it was even coherent, so I'll give you a little time to digest before the finale. If you thought of any of your own ideas or theories while listening to this video, I would love to hear them in the comments section. Honestly, my favorite part about making Winter Wonderland Theory was getting to read everyone's ideas. I don't know if you can tell, but I kinda like Deltarune theories, just a little bit. Special shoutouts to all the people who commented saying that Spamton wasn't the best newbird candidate, and an even bigger shoutout to the people who called that the newbird was specifically the player. Your theory was the jumping off point of this video, so thank you! A lot of people also commented that Hyperlink blocked his love, and some even noticed how it pulls the strings and makes them ring could be talking about bells, and you guys were totally right. And to everyone else who commented, thank you. It made me smile every time I checked the comment section, just seeing people actively engage in my stupid Christmas song theory. So give me your thoughts, no matter how silly they sound. And maybe consider liking and subscribing. Okay, let's get back into it! Now that we have a better understanding of what Deltarune is trying to communicate through its many symbols, we're much better equipped to analyze the connections between the weird root and everyone's favorite Christmas song, Winter Wonderland. I'll go through the song chronologically in the order that things unfold in Deltarune, and the order we can expect the story to continue in the future. The song begins with the singer and their partner already in a relationship, and soon to be married. Similarly, the weird root sees the player push Chris into romantic situations with Noelle as if they were already romantically involved. Then, in both stories, a personified inanimate object, Parson Brown in Winter Wonderland and the freeze ring Addison in Deltarune, asks if the two are dating or married, and they say no, although soon they will be. The bluebird goes away, the newbird takes his place, but what comes next? Later on, they conspire and face plans unafraid, something which didn't quite fit Deltarune's story at the time of my original video, since at the end of Chapter 2, Noelle is scared of Chris and resolves to find out why they're acting so strangely. I would have never expected the two of them to conspire together after that, but as of Chapter 4, it seems that Noelle is under the player's complete control. After re-equipping the thorn ring, she thanks someone, and at the end of Chapter 4, Carol calls to tell Chris that Noelle is looking forward to seeing them at the festival tomorrow. The two made plans to ride the Ferris wheel together in Chapter 2, and Noelle is now facing those plans unafraid. Now that Noelle is under your control, you'll be able to work together to conspire to do something with Noelle's newfound power. They may even dream by the fire, or by an inferno of jealousy, perhaps? But at some point, there must be a Winter Wonderland, just like how, at some point, the heroes must banish the angels' heaven. In my last video, I theorized that the two were one and the same, a wintry wonderland created by the angel Noelle as her dark world, her heaven. But if you'll remember, we may have an even better angel candidate in the weird root, the player, who comes down from a higher plane of reality to intervene in the lives of Deltarune's characters, the newbird with the wings of an angel. To be clear, I don't think the player is the angel in the normal route. That seat would be taken by Noelle, no question. If not, then why does almost every reference to angels, angel wings, angel dolls, angel costumes, snow angels, etc., connect to Noelle in some way? What's more, the revival of Gerson and exposition from Rousey on the mechanics of reviving Lightners with darkness feels like setup for Rudy's death. Noelle will bring him back from the dead by creating a dark world, one where her father is alive and everything can be healed with a little spell, where she can live in fantasy and nostalgia forever, where it can snow whenever she wants. Her own personal heaven. Her angel foreshadowing is even stronger in the weird route than otherwise. She's called an angel more frequently and blatantly, and her animation as she casts Snowgrave, where she floats, white robe fluttering, a far-off expression on her face, feels deliberately angelic. All signs point to her transformation into the angel regardless of the route, whether through her own power or the love forced upon her. But whether or not Noelle becomes the angel in the weird route, she will make a dark world. In the normal route, she will do it to revive her dead father, and in the weird route, she'll do it by your command. It would be an excellent opportunity to visually represent Noelle's change in psyche through a change in her dark world. And although unused in the finished game, this prophecy glass feels relevant. Cold water fell from the top of the sky, as well as this line which actually is in the final game, who will call the girl who snows? Although it already snowed once before, these lines imply that it will snow again, and what's a Winter Wonderland without glistening snow? But I'm not done, because I also have brand new evidence to suggest that Wonderlands, winter or otherwise, are closely linked to Dark Worlds in Deltarune. Recently, Friend was revealed to be more than just a creepy face in the basement of Queen's Mansion. Now it's a cat with a creepy face in the basement of Queen's Mansion, among other places. This fact, combined with its big half-moon grin and ability to disappear smile last, makes it pretty clear that it's based on the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. What's more, in the classic story, Alice falls into a fantasy world where everything is whimsical and strange, very similar to Dark Worlds in Deltarune. At the end of the story, it's revealed that Wonderland, the people she met there, and everything that happened in it, were all just a dream. Deltarune's first 3 chapters end in a similar way. Each time they're brought back to the light world, one or more of the characters wonders if it was all just a dream, and many are found sleeping after the fountain was sealed, as though they were asleep for the whole adventure. In general, Dark Worlds have continuously been correlated with dreams, and it's very likely, especially given certain lines of Chapter 4 dialogue, that light represents hopes and darkness represents dreams. And of course, Deltarune as a whole was based on a fever dream Toby Fox had back in 2011. So then, if Dark Worlds are Wonderlands, then wouldn't a cold, snowy Dark World be called a Winter Wonderland? And that's about where I ended my last video. We've got our angel, our final Dark World, and connected it all back to this stupid Christmas song. But this time, we can go even further. After all, the sleigh bells have yet to ring. The first note of the first measure of the song. The word ring is related to all of the most important video game secret-related characters. He pulls the strings and makes them ring. Feels like guitar strings. The word ring, which also appears in hit Christmas song Winter Wonderland, seems kind of important. Remember that mini theory from the first Winter Wonderland video? Does it ring a bell? Well, I think I can safely say I was right. The word ring is important to Deltarune. Noelle casts spells using her rings, which are proving to be extremely important to the weird route and even to part of the prophecy. They'll hear the ring of Heaven's Call, which also connects physical rings to auditory ringing. Gaster reaches us in Spamton through the ringing phone, and we can't forget the flavor text in Spamton's fight. It pulls the strings and makes them ring. This could apply to many musical instruments, but most notably, Death's guitar, or a bell. The bell of justice is ringing. It's for you. Just like how when Spamton's phone is ringing, it's for you. These lines mirror each other to draw a direct connection between the ringing of phones and bells, proving that these seemingly disparate instances of ringing are in fact related. But that isn't the only reason bells hold significance in Deltarune. During Gerson's fight, he asks, "Can you hear its song, singing from the deep? That is the ringing of the Hammer of Justice." This line links the Hammer of Justice, and more importantly, the Bell of Justice ringing throughout the battle, to the Song of the Sea. This bell is given so much focus in the flavor text of this battle, and there's never an explanation as to why. The same goes for the Song of the Sea. We know almost nothing about it, just that it's important, as we're asked a persistent question. Sometimes I hear a song at night. Can you hear it? Can you hear its song, singing from the deep? You hear that? Sleigh bells ring, but are you listening? The Song of the Sea's connection to bells seems to be stronger than we initially thought. With this in mind, I have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of bells in Deltarune. Ring isn't the only word to continually appear in lore-relevant places in Deltarune. The word call comes up quite a bit as well. You have to call a phone before it rings. It's calling, Chris. My heart, my hands. You called for help, but no one came. What do you call a man with one eye? Why does the angel make its cry? Who will call the girl who snows? And, of course, they'll hear the ring of Heaven's Call. It's call and response, a command in its effect. Before they can ring, someone must first call the phone, the guitar, the man with one eye, the girl who snows, and, of course, the bell. Suppose for a moment that the receiving end of heaven's call is the bell which rings out the song of the sea. The symbolic associations of bells run in perfect tandem with the weird root. Bells are, of course, linked to religion, both Christianity and the prophecy. It's why there are so many bells in the church dark world. This therefore connects bells strongly to the angel, the entity which the player seeks to manufacture using love in the weird root. Bells are also strongly associated with Christmas, which is deeply connected to the character you torture in the weird root, but also has further connections to the angel and is the genre of song which I argue the weird root is based on. And, of course, bells are wedding imagery. It isn't hard to imagine the weird root, with all its marriage symbolism, ending with Chris and Noelle's wedding, which would double as a ceremony to grant the power of the angel to Noelle and the player. The bell rings with the song of the sea, the newbird's love song, and this time that love song isn't just metaphorical. It's a song which uses the romantic love of a wedding and the love that Noelle has gained to become stronger. A bell ringing with the power of the people you've slain. A sleigh bell, if you will. As the bell rings out, so too will Noelle use her ring. You call on the girl who snows. The one mentioned in the flavor text of Spamton's fight was you. You pull Noelle's strings as you pull the string of the bell, and they will hear the ring of your call. As the bell rings for the rise of one angel, it tolls for another. Noelle is Jesus, remember? She must die for your sins, and ultimately be used up. The EXP gained from killing Noelle, combined with the power of the love song, fills you with an overabundance of love. And if you'll remember, the result of love is an egg. A symbol of change, of rebirth. And interestingly, of the Easter story, where the shell represents Jesus' tomb, and the cracking of the egg represents his resurrection from the dead. And what is the weird root if not an Easter egg? Once hatched, you'll finally have your wings. You'll finally be free of your little bird cage. It's outlived its use, free to be discarded. Now as the angel, you may finally be powerful enough, big enough to reach into the heavens. With this incredible power of love, you may finally cut the strings binding you to a single ending. The strings of the narrative, the strings of Deltarune. Just like Spamton, those strings were your connection. Cutting them and finally gaining your freedom means cutting off that connection. Without them, the fantasy world you once immersed yourself in to escape from reality, just as Noelle did with her dark world, will be cut off. Deltarune, your heaven, will be banished. Now you meet with your desire. In the end, you never could break free from the prophecy. But even still, you did it. You saw a different ending. You got your freedom just like you wanted. Aren't you happy? Well, what did you expect? Without strings, you can't play. This is it. This is your ending. You called for help, but nobody came. You called for Susie, but nobody came. You called for Rouse, Chris, but nobody came. You whispered Noelle's name, but nobody came. Call all you want. No one will ever pick up. Go ahead and scream into the receiver. The voice runs out eventually. Your voice, their voice, until you realize you are all alone. There will be no more miracles, no more magic. You lost it when you tried to see too far. You lost it. Mine.
Coming straight from
Mine.
He's the one. The king of. He's groovy and never gloomy. You can't get it from an egg.
bunch of other characters get turned into keychains. That's right, Deltarune keychains with art drawn by yours truly. I put all my personal favorites in this lineup, and I'm so proud of how they came out. I even gave them each unique clasps which relate back to the character. They're proportional to each other, which means that some are sized a bit differently, so some of them are pretty big. So check the description in the store to be sure that they're the right size for you. If you buy the Prophesied Heroes pack, which includes Chris, Susie, Ralsei, and Noelle, or the Weird Freaks pack, which includes Spamton, Tenna, The Knight, and Friend, you get 4 keychains for the price of 3. But perhaps keychains aren't sticky enough for you. It's weird that you want that, but luckily for you, you little freak, I also made them into stickers. Stick them on your laptop, your water bottle, or cover your ugly-ass sketchbook in them until it's brain rot enough for your refined tastes. These stickers are waterproof and tough, and just like the keychains, you can buy 3 get 1 free by buying them in packs. But there's one more item in my shop that you may recognize. You saw it before ever even hearing the first word of this video. That's right. It's Chris from the thumbnail! Wow, they're looking so dapper. Aren't weddings such beautiful celebrations of love? This is a 7x10 gloss print, so be careful of fingerprints. I'm super happy with how it came out. You can find it as well as my stickers and keychains in the description. But that's not all! My amazing friend Cookie, who edited the entire script of this video, is making an online shop alongside me. She's also making Deltarune keychains and stickers of characters that aren't in my shop. Right now she has this adorable Miss Mizzle and Task Manager, but plans to add more designs in the future, so keep an eye out. And if you were curious, my favorite is definitely Task Manager. She's just so cute in this style. Cookie also has a beautiful print of Miss Mizzle and Task Manager dancing together. Yuri! Please support her by buying her stuff. The links to both of our shops will be in the info card above and the description down below. Since we have literally no clue how much these products will sell, we're doing a pre-order system. The first wave of pre-orders closes January 31st, but depending on how things go, I may do restocks in the future. For updates on possible restocks, check my Instagram at ChocoFox7 or my YouTube community posts. This video took a long time to make. I started writing it in July, believe it or not. Art school has a tendency to sideline your personal projects. On the bright side, now I can say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Wow, it's so thematic. Pretend it's intentional. Big thanks again to Cookie for editing my script. You can find her at Fluffy Dumbbell on Instagram. And thanks to Ray for being my Christianity consultant. We've been playing some Deltarune together on his channel if you want to check that out. Also check out my friend Azzy and I's channel, Choco Doom. We're playing through Deltarune right now, and I promised that if we got to 150 subscribers, I'd reveal some epic Crudely Mordatoy art I did. I plan on adding it as a print to my online shop if we get there, so yeah, look out for that, I guess. For my outro, I originally wanted to talk about some of my theories that didn't fit well into the video, and maybe I'll put that in the pinned comment or something, but right now, I just want to say this. Deltarune isn't solved, and it isn't impossible to solve. I think some people get so stuck thinking about the events as they happened and what characters did what, that they overlook the subtler stuff. A story is told with more than just characters and events. Every single word, every single sprite, every single symbol is a choice that someone made for a reason. Even if that choice is subconscious, and especially if it isn't, it tells you something. It gives you a certain feeling or reminds you of something else. So don't just look at the information itself, look at the way that information is conveyed. Pay attention to word choice, to symbols, to patterns. Control F in the Deltarune text dump is your best friend. There's so much left to find. For example, why isn't anyone talking about the flower that's cut in half? Seriously, this is making me go insane. It's a flower. You know Undertale? You know Flowey? You know Azrael is a flower. And a Flower King's the next chapter. And it's cut in half. That's so specific. It's cut in half. What does that mean? And you're controlling Ralsei, or Ralsei is controlling, the camera and takes the picture of the flower, and Ralsei is an anagram of Azrael. Ralsei is related to...